Welcome to another episode of Modern Latina in Midlife. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Sonia Flores, your host, and today we're going to be talking about the stories we tell ourselves that keep us stuck in our midlife reality. Have you ever heard of people saying, oh, they're stuck in their ways, or you can't teach a new dog new tricks? I hear people say, I am 52 years old now. This is who I am. I'm not changing. I'm calling bullshit on it. Yes, our brains have been wired for years with certain messages we have heard since childhood, or stories we have interpreted in our heads based on our experiences, or things we've heard through life. But I don't believe that we can't change our thoughts, our reactions, our behaviors, and our habits, no matter what our age is. If we want it, if we want the change, if we want a different outcome, then we have to change our thoughts, behaviors, and habits. And I believe we can do it no matter what age we are. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it can be simple. It is going to require some work and, in some cases, maybe even support from someone who can help keep us accountable, like a life coach. Now, don't roll your eyes at me. I get it. We see, mira tu life coach. No, seriously. I've worked with a couple and have found immense transformation from both of them. But back to changing our behaviors and habits, it starts with our belief system and the stories and messages we tell ourselves. It's our limiting beliefs. To explain this further, this is the explanation of limiting beliefs according to Tony Robbins. Limiting beliefs are the stories we tell ourselves about who we are that hold us back from becoming who we are meant to be. These beliefs limit us reaching our full potential. They are often subconscious. We don't even know that we have them until someone points them out to us. The human brain is wired to conserve energy. We seek certainty in our routines, in our relationships, and in our jobs. We're often averse to risk and don't want to get out of our comfort zones. And we only invest energy into taking action when we believe it will produce results. When we don't believe we can get these results, when we don't have a deep belief in ourselves, we give up before we start. We don't put in our full effort. We sabotage our own success. That is the very definition of a limiting belief. Wow. Now, if we think about it, what is your limiting belief? Let me share with you a recent discovery and work through a limiting belief. Yes, this was with the help of a life coach. My dear friend is working on her life coaching certification. I scheduled a consultation with her. I wanted to work on this specifically. I find that I have some great ideas for business, but it takes me a really long time, sometimes years, to get things done. For instance, I have a virtual assistant online business management business. I first heard about virtual assistants back around 2010 or 2011 and immediately knew this was something I wanted to do. I started my virtual assistant business on a part time basis in 2015, 4 to 5 years later. That was a long time in my book, especially when I'm watching other people do it so much faster. I've been producing podcasts since 2015, and I've been wanting to launch this podcast since then. I actively started working on it in November of 2022 and didn't launch it until November of 2023. So around 7 years, really, if you count from the time that I started thinking about launching a podcast back in 2015. And it literally took me over a year, actually. It took me a year to launch the podcast from the time that I started working on it. I can launch a client's podcast if we really wanted to in 7 days, if we really sat down to do the work. I usually tell them it's going to take us 30 days so that we have time to still do our jobs and family and all the other things and work on all the things. So for it to take me a year, there's no excuse. I've had the idea of doing a podcast launch online course for a couple of years. I started working on it in 2022 and I launched it and that's at the beginning of 2022. And I launched it at the beginning of this year. Again, it took me a full year to get it out there. And it wasn't perfect. I had to push myself to just get it done, right? Like done is better than perfect. I will make corrections and I will improve it with time and with feedback. But before we can ever get it to a place where we feel like, oh my gosh, this is really like great, we need to get it out there first. And we need to start getting the feedback. Now, I've had an idea about expanding into another branch of my business since 2020. I started outlining what that might look like about in the summer. I want to say in the summer of 2020. And I stopped myself in my tracks. And I mean, within just a few days of starting to like write this down. Each time I have stopped myself with each one of these projects from proceeding or moving forward, what came to mind was, who am I? Who am I to be doing this? What do I know? Who's going to believe I can actually do this? Who's going to believe me that I can actually help them? So, in this life coaching session, my friend helped me turn those questions into statements, figuring out what am I really telling myself? Well, I tell myself, I don't know how to do this. But then I can quickly debunk that because I can literally figure out how to do just about anything I want to do. First of all, there's Google. I mean, you can pretty much find how to get anything started on Google. Second, I'm a manifesting generator in my human design. I am literally designed to be able to figure things out with ease. So I don't know how to do this is a false statement. I can learn how to do it. So that's baloney. So the next question, who's going to believe I can actually do this, turned into a statement of no one will believe me or trust me. Can I debunk this statement? Of course. I am trustworthy. I have clients who have trusted me with their businesses and projects for years. I'm honest and I work with integrity. People trust me. So that statement is debunked. Easy. So what is truly keeping me stuck? It's the belief I have in my head that it takes me a long time to get things done. Is this statement true? Yes. I just shared with you how long it took me to get each of these projects done. It shouldn't take me that long. It's doable in a much shorter period of time. Somewhere along the way, it took work and perseverance to accomplish something. Maybe it was getting through college since it took me 5 years to earn my bachelor's degree instead of the 4 that everybody else was doing. I haven't fully processed when this belief was created. And I don't think that I want to take the time to do this right now. The fact is that I have that belief firmly recorded in my mind. So when I'm approaching a project and I get stuck, or I realize it's going to take a hell of a lot more work than I anticipated or was hoping for, I get frustrated and I quit and I put it away. And I tell myself, it's going to take me too long. Who am I? Who's going to believe me? All those thoughts. And because it's something that I still believe in and I want to do, of course, that desire keeps coming up. That idea keeps popping up. So then I try and maybe I try to move forward again and then I quit again until one day it's finally done. So there, it took me a long time to accomplish it. In the meantime, I watch other women come and go with their ideas and birth them left and right with ease and quickly and grow, and they're superstars. And I'm over here going, why can't I do it? Why can't I do it that fast? Why does it take me so long? It takes me so long to get something done. So, how can I do things differently? How can I bust or change this message or story I'm telling myself that it takes me a long time to bring an idea to fruition? It starts with awareness. I want to start practicing identifying when that frustration creeps in. Take a step back and tell myself, okay, there is that frustration. It's okay. This is frustrating and uncomfortable because I've never done this before. It's new to me. So our brains are trained to want the familiar, whether it's good for us or not. When we reach a place of discomfort, it wants to bring us back to the familiar. This is why so many times we date the same type of person over and over again. Different phrase, different face, different clothing, same habits and behaviors. It's familiar to us. So when I reach a point of discomfort, because it could mean I have to learn a new skill, do things differently, or I'm expanding in my personal development, it's a heck of a lot easier to just close the laptop mid project and say, who am I to do this? And call it a day. Go back to my same old, same old. Here's an example of a recent project I completed. I literally white knuckled my way through it. It was creating my podcast launch online course for my business. I had this idea for a couple of years, as I've mentioned before. It was my goal at the beginning of 2022 to launch this online course. And I started off strong with my intention, as many of us do at the beginning of the year. And somewhere very early in the year, I quit. In the fall, a friend of mine proposed we be accountability partners. He had a business he wanted to launch that he had been planning for years, and he hadn't birthed it yet and wanted someone to keep him accountable. So I agreed. I thought, great, this is a perfect opportunity to get this podcast launch online course done before the year's over. We gave ourselves 90 days to get it done. We each wrote a timeline with due dates for each step of the project, and we agreed to check in with each other every Monday. And that's what we did. I launched my online course, and he launched his business. Were they perfect? No, but I never expected it to be. But we got it done. The key was continuing to power through the steps and milestones I created for myself, regardless of the discomfort. And frankly, it was a messy and imperfect process. So now I'm working with a business coach to help me finesse that course. And I'm working on the business idea I had in 2020 that I had um, completely quit on. I'm bringing it back to life and plan on launching by the end of the year or early next year. Yes, I'd like for it to be done next month, but the fact of the matter is that it is a brand new and frankly quite big of a project for me. It needs to be developed and worked through. So this year will be development, testing, and feedback. So early next year, it can be a full and complete program. All this to say that just when you think you can't change a reaction, a behavior, or a habit, I'm here to tell you, yes, you can. It's not going to be easy, but it can be done. And sometimes we need to enlist someone's support, guidance, and or accountability to get there. And that is okay. It takes a village. We are social beings. We are meant to do things with others. So, whether you're thinking about changing careers or fields in this midlife stage, reevaluating your friendships or relationships, aspire to have a different lifestyle, or improve your health, you can do it no matter what age you are. You are not stuck in your ways. We just have to be able to live through that discomfort. We have to be okay with, okay, it's uncomfortable. There it is. There's that discomfort, and acknowledge it and just sit with it and move with it and move through it. We often feel in this midlife stage that maybe the train has left and it's too late to make a change. I don't think that's true. And how horrible would it be to not be able to make changes or not be willing to make changes given how much time we still have ahead of us? We are living longer than we ever have. And wouldn't it be amazing to be able to live the life we truly want instead of the life that we have by default landed on or based on somebody else's decisions or trying to please somebody else or thinking that we were doing the right thing for somebody else's sake? I think it's time that we start thinking about us and what do we want out of this life? Amigas, this is further from the truth that we can't make changes at this age. We can make changes, and we owe it to ourselves and our friends, our families, and our communities to be our authentic selves. After all, as Latinas, we have longevity in our lives. So if you listen to episode 1, Midlife Doesn't Have to Be a Crisis, I talk about the life expectancy rates for Latinas in the US. And, go into that further. So, anyways, I'm here to tell you, think about those things that you've been putting off or those things that you felt like it's too late. Maybe it's a career. Many times at this age, we start reevaluating our careers, or maybe we're nearing retirement. But that doesn't mean that we can't do that thing that we so much wanted to do still. We can reach that retirement age and you know what? Learn something new, start a new career. Maybe it's just on a part-time basis, or maybe it is a full-blown revamp of your career and you go into something completely different and new. Anyways, I want to hear what would you do differently? What is that thing that you left behind that you didn't do? And start thinking about ways of working through that. Where can you start? Start taking small little steps, setting intentions, dreaming about it, start Googling about it, and start taking that next little step and that next little step and just sit with that discomfort and tell your brain, yes, I know it's uncomfortable because we've never done this before, but it's okay. I'm safe. I'm a big girl. I can do this. We can do this, discomfort and all. All right. Well, there's the episode for today. Now, I do want to share what is one thing I'm loving because I like to share a new thing, a product, an app, something that I'm loving these days. And I don't think I did it in the last episode, but what I'm loving right now is my Nespresso coffee machine. Okay. I'm just going to go there. The last time I traveled to Europe was probably about 10 years ago, prior to this last time I was there. And I came back and just couldn't drink the coffee here because it was so good out there. It's so delicious. I'm like, coffee out here does not compare. But this time that I went to Greece and to Paris, I have to say that I came back and I was worried I wasn't going to like my coffee again. But I do because the Nespresso. I have the Nespresso Virtual coffee and espresso machine plus the milk frother, and I use it every single day, and it is delicious. You can make regular coffee, espresso, lattes, cappuccinos, hot or cold coffee drinks, and different sizes. You can make your milk foam with the frother. I like to add the creamer to the frother and then pour it over my coffee. Oh, so good. And the pods are recyclable. I know they're one-use pods, and a lot of people are kind of against that. They are recyclable. So I do like that. You get a bag with a prepaid stamp label on it every single time you order your coffee, or you buy it at the boutique stores. You throw the pods in the bag and then you just drop it off at UPS. That's it. The label's already on it. You just drop it off and it goes. I think somebody told me that there was like a reusable pod where you can put your own grounds in, but I'm not about that right now. I'm enjoying the coffee that they offer. I really do. Some of my favorites are the Mexico one and the Colombia one. And then there's like a Hazelini or Hazelino or something like that. It's like a hazel one. And then some sort of like a caramel one. Anyways, they're delicious. So that's what I'm loving right now. I came back and I was like, I'm just so grateful that I have my delicious espresso and lattes every morning, and they're delicious. All right, folks, thanks so much for being here. Oh, I'll go ahead and link the coffee maker, the Nespresso, and the milk frother, and the Mexico coffee, which is my favorite, in the show notes in case you're interested. Thanks a lot. If you are enjoying this podcast, please tell your primas and your amigas, and let's have the conversations. Let's make these changes together. Let's live our best lives moving forward. And do me a huge favor, rate and review the podcast on your favorite podcast player, wherever you're listening to right now. If you could just go to your podcast player and rate and review it so that more people, more women, more Latinas can listen and feel empowered in this midlife stage. And let's make it our best life yet. Thank you so much for being here. Hasta la próxima, amigas.